The massive ship appeared without warning on a clear Tuesday morning. It hung in the sky above New York City like a dark cloud, blocking the sun and casting shadows across the frightened city below. Captain John Miller stood on the bridge of the EDF horizon, his hands gripping the railing as he stared at the main screen. The alien vessel was at least 10 times larger than the biggest human ship ever built. Its surface was smooth and dark, with strange markings that seemed to glow with an inner light. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission," said Lieutenant Olivia Baker, her fingers moving quickly over her console. Well, I think it's them." John nodded, his face serious but calm. He had trained for this moment for years, though nobody truly believed first contact would happen in their lifetime. As the leader of Earth's first contact team, he knew the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. "Put it through," he ordered. The screen flickered, showing a being unlike anything humans had ever seen. It had gray skin that seemed to shift and move like liquid metal. Its eyes were large and completely black with no visible pupils. When it spoke, its mouth didn't move. The sound simply appeared in the air. "We are the Chronari," the alien said, its voice oddly flat and emotionless. "Your world has resources we require. Prepare to receive our delegation." Dr. Susan Wright, the team's linguist, stepped forward. "That's not how this works," she whispered to John. "They can't just demand a meeting like that." John nodded but kept his expression neutral. "This is Captain John Miller of Earth. We welcome peaceful contact with your species, but we must establish proper diplomatic protocols first." The alien's head tilted slightly. "Protocols are unnecessary. You will comply. Coordinates for your arrival have been sent." The screen went dark. Greg Peterson, the military strategist assigned to the team, shook his head. "I don't like this. Captain, they're not asking. They're ordering." "I know," John replied, "but this is still our best chance to avoid conflict. We go in carefully, follow first contact procedures, and keep our guard up." Dr. Lisa Martinez, the team's xenobiologist, was studying the readings from the alien ship. "Their biology is like nothing I've ever seen. They might not even understand the concept of diplomacy the same way we do. Or they might understand it perfectly and just don't care," Greg added. John looked at his team. The best Earth had to offer. Susan with her gift for languages, Greg with his tactical mind, Lisa with her brilliant understanding of life forms, and a dozen other specialists. They had trained together for 3 years for this moment. "We have our orders," John said finally. "We make contact, we represent humanity, and we stay alert." The shuttle that took them to the alien vessel was Earth's newest design, equipped with the best defenses human technology could provide. As they approached the Chronari ship, John felt a growing sense of unease. The vessel had no visible entry points, no docking bays, nothing that looked like a way in. "Where exactly are we supposed to land?" Olivia asked from the pilot seat. As if in answer, a section of the alien ship's hull seemed to melt away, revealing a dark opening. "I guess that's our invitation," John said. "Take us in, but be ready for immediate extraction if needed." The shuttle passed through the opening into a vast chamber that glowed with a pale blue light. The walls pulsed slightly, almost as if the ship itself was breathing. As they landed, John checked his sidearm discreetly. First contact protocols discouraged visible weapons, but he wasn't taking chances. "Remember," he told his team as they prepared to exit, "we represent all of humanity today." The air inside the alien ship was breathable but had a strange metallic taste. The team stepped out in formation with John in the lead. A group of Chronari waited for them, each standing perfectly still, their liquid metal skin reflecting the blue light. "We come in peace," John began, using the traditional greeting. "We seek to establish friendly relations between our worlds." The lead Chronari moved forward. Up close, John could see that what looked like skin was actually millions of tiny metallic particles moving together in perfect harmony. "Your concepts of peace are irrelevant," the Chronari said. "We have studied your species for some time. You are primitive, violent, and occupy a world rich in elements we require." Susan stepped forward. "Perhaps there's been a misunderstanding. We're willing to discuss trade agreements that could benefit both our species." The Chronari made a sound. That might have been laughter, though there was no joy in it. Trade implies equal standing. You are not our equals. John felt the tension rise among his team. This wasn't going as planned. Every species has something valuable to offer, he said carefully. We have much to learn from each other. We have nothing to learn from you, the Chronari replied. Your technology is primitive, your societies are chaotic. You spend resources fighting amongst yourselves, you are inefficient. Greg moved closer to John. Captain, he whispered, we need to leave. Now. Before John could respond, a high-pitched sound filled the chamber. Several members of his team cried out, clutching their heads in pain. John reached for his weapon, but his arm wouldn't move. He felt his body freezing in place, some invisible force holding him still. Your species will serve a purpose, the Chronari said, moving closer. Your planet's resources will fuel our expansion. Those of you who survive will be useful for labor and experimentation. This key is an act of war, John managed to say, fighting against the invisible force. War implies two military powers, the Chronari responded coldly. This is not war, this is harvesting. With a sudden surge of will, John broke free of the paralyzing effect just enough to draw his weapon. He fired at the control panel on the wall, causing sparks and a momentary disruption in whatever force was holding them. Run, he shouted to his team. Get to the shuttle. Chaos erupted in the chamber. Some of the team broke free and ran for the shuttle while others remained frozen. The Chronari moved with surprising speed, their bodies seeming to flow rather than walk. John fired again, creating more disruption. Go, he yelled to Susan as she helped Lisa toward the shuttle. Tell Earth. This is an invasion, Greg managed to reach the shuttle first, powering up the engines. Captain, he called out, we have to go now. John saw several of his team members already captured by the Chronari. He fired his weapon one last time, creating enough confusion to allow him to back onto the shuttle ramp. As soon as he was inside, Olivia slammed the hatch closed and Greg launched the shuttle toward the opening they'd entered through. They're closing the bay doors, Olivia shouted, pushing the engines beyond their limits. The shuttle shot out of the alien vessel just as the opening began to seal. Behind them, the massive Chronari ship was already moving, heading toward Earth's major cities. Send the emergency signal, John ordered, his voice grim. Full invasion protocol and get me a direct line to General Karen West. As the shuttle raced back toward Earth, they watched in horror as smaller Chronari vessels deployed from the mothership, streaking toward the planet's surface like falling stars. Captain, Susan said quietly, her voice shaking. What do we do, now? John looked at the frightened faces of his surviving team members, then back at the view of Earth, still peaceful and blue, unaware of what was coming. Now, he said, we fight. The Chronari attack was swift and brutal. Within hours, major cities across Earth were in flames. New York, London, Beijing, and dozens of other population centers faced destruction as alien ships rained fire from above. But the aliens made one critical mistake. They thought humans would surrender quickly. Deep beneath the Nevada desert, in a facility that didn't exist on any official map, General Karen West stared at the wall of screens showing the devastation. Her face remained calm, though her eyes burned with controlled anger. How soon can we activate the defenses, she asked. Colonel Dan Phillips checked his tablet. The orbital platforms are ready now. Ground teams are in position. We're just waiting for your order, General. Karen nodded. For 30 years, the world's governments had secretly prepared for this exact scenario. While the public believed space, exploration was moving at a slow pace. Billions of dollars had been funneled into Project Prometheus, humanity's insurance policy against alien threats. Send the activation codes, she ordered. It's time to show these aliens what humans are truly capable of. Across the globe, hidden bunkers received the encrypted signal. Soldiers and scientists who had trained for years in secret now moved, with practiced efficiency. The counterattack was about to begin. Sam Nichols crawled through the rubble of what used to be downtown Chicago. His Special Forces team moved silently behind him, each carrying weapons that would have seemed like science, Fiction to the general public just days ago. Target in sight, Sam whispered into his comm unit. Large Chronari ground force, approximately 30 units moving toward the water treatment facility. Understood, came the response from command. You are clear to engage. Test the new weapons. Sam signaled to his team. They spread out, taking positions around the alien patrol. The Chronari moved with unnatural smoothness, their liquid metal bodies flowing rather than walking. Each stood nearly 8 feet tall and carried weapons that could disintegrate a human with a single shot. On my mark, Sam said quietly. 3, 2, 1, now. The humans fired in perfect unison. Instead of bullets, their weapons released clouds of microscopic robots, nanites specifically designed to attack the Chronari's unique biology. The tiny machines swarmed over the aliens, finding gaps in their armor and burrowing inside. The effect was immediate and devastating. The Chronari's flowing movements became jerky and uncoordinated. Several collapsed, their metallic skin hardening into immobile lumps. Others fired wildly, unable to control their weapons. It works, Sam reported, allowing himself a grim smile. The nanites are effective, moving to phase 2. His team advanced, deploying small devices that emitted a high-frequency pulse. This was the second part of the attack, disrupting the Chronari neural systems. The remaining aliens froze in place, completely paralyzed. Area secured, Sam reported. Send in the collection team. These aliens are about to become our science project. In orbit above Earth, Olivia Baker floated inside a maintenance satellite. At least that's what the Chronari thought it was. In reality, it was one of hundreds of weapons platforms disguised as ordinary communications equipment. Command? This is Orbital Defense Station 7, she said into her headset. In position and ready. You're clear to activate Station 7, came the response. Hit them hard. Olivia entered a complex code into her terminal. Around the planet, hundreds of similar stations suddenly transformed, panels sliding away to reveal advanced energy weapons. The Chronari fleet, focused on bombarding Earth's surface, didn't notice the threat until too late. The first wave of energy beams sliced through 3 Chronari ships before they could raise their shields. The alien vessels exploded silently in the vacuum of space, debris spreading outward like deadly shrapnel. Direct hits confirmed, Olivia reported, fighting to keep her voice professional despite her elation. Moving to secondary targets. The Chronari fleet reacted quickly, turning their weapons toward the orbital platforms. But for every station they destroyed, 5 more opened fire from different positions. It was a carefully planned ambush, decades in the making. In the hidden facility beneath Nevada, Dr. Alan Garcia watched the battle unfold on his monitors. As the lead scientist of Project Prometheus, he had dedicated his life to developing technologies that might save humanity from extinction. Now, he was about to deploy his masterpiece. The quantum displacement field is charged and ready, he announced. Major population centers are prepared for phase shift. General West nodded. How long can we keep them shifted? 24 hours at most, Alan replied. After that, the power requirements become impossible to maintain. That should be enough time. The general turned to her communications officer. Send the alert. All designated cities begin evacuation to underground shelters immediately. Displacement will commence in 2 hours. Across the remaining intact cities of Earth, a carefully planned evacuation began. Citizens who had drilled for natural disasters now followed those same procedures, not knowing they were about to experience something unprecedented in human history. Exactly 2 hours later, Dr. Garcia initiated the quantum displacement field. One by one, major cities around the world seemed to shimmer and then vanish, shifted slightly out of phase with normal reality. To the Chronari sensors, they would appear to have been destroyed, while actually existing in a parallel dimension just beyond reach. Displacement successful, Alan reported, his face showing both relief and exhaustion. New York, Los Angeles, London, Tokyo, and 23 other cities are now safe from orbital bombardment. On the Chronari command ship, Supreme General Vrax was experiencing something unfamiliar: doubt. The invasion that should have been simple was turning into a disaster. "How is this possible?" he demanded of his science officer. "Their technology was assessed as primitive. They should have been defenseless." "They concealed their true capabilities," the science officer replied, its metallic skin rippling with agitation. "These humans are deceptive. Our ground forces are being decimated," reported another officer. "They have weapons that target our biological structure directly, and now their cities are disappearing." Vrack stared at the view screen showing Earth. The planet that had seemed so vulnerable was now fighting back with unexpected ferocity. Already a third of his fleet had been destroyed by weapons that shouldn't exist. "Launch all remaining attack ships," he ordered. "We will overwhelm them with numbers." But even as he gave the order, alarms blared throughout the command ship. Something was infiltrating their systems, spreading through the ship's computer network like a disease. "What is happening?" Vrax demanded. The science officer's body rippled with panic. "Some kind of artificial intelligence. It's in our systems, rewriting our command codes. Our weapons are—" The officer never finished. Throughout the ship, weapon systems activated on their own, targeting other Chronari vessels. Across the fleet, the same chaos erupted as Dr. Garcia's microscopic AI units took control. From the bridge of the EDF Valiant, hidden until now in the shadow of Earth's moon, Commander Nicole Powell watched the Chronari fleet tear itself apart. The Valiant was humanity's first true warship, built in secret over 15 years. "Target the Chronari flagship," she ordered. "Let's end this." The Valiant emerged from hiding, its advanced engines pushing it toward the heart of the alien fleet. Its weapons, gravity torpedoes designed specifically to disrupt the Chronari ship's unique structure, were primed and ready. "This is for Earth," Nicole said as she gave the order to fire. The torpedoes streaked across space, each one containing enough power to tear apart the fabric of spacetime on a small scale. They struck the Chronari flagship in precise locations, creating localized gravity wells that pulled the massive ship apart from the inside. As the alien vessel broke into pieces, Nicole opened a channel to Earth Command. "General West, the enemy flagship is destroyed. The remaining Chronari ships are in disarray." For the first time in days, Karen West allowed herself a small smile. "Well done, Commander. Now let's finish this. It's time to take the fight to them." 6 months after the Chronari's failed invasion, Earth had changed. Cities were being rebuilt. The quantum displacement technology had successfully returned all shifted cities back to normal space, and humanity had united like never before. In the large underground war room beneath the rebuilt United Nations headquarters, Admiral Frank Turner stood before the assembled military leaders of Earth. The old rivalries between nations had faded in the face of the alien threat. "The defensive phase of this war is over," Admiral Turner announced, his voice firm and confident. "Today, we begin the counteroffensive." Holographic displays showed the fleet Earth had constructed using captured Chronari technology combined with human innovation. 50 warships, each more powerful than anything humanity had built before the invasion, waited in orbit. "Our scientists have decoded the Chronari navigation systems," Turner continued. "We know the locations of their key military bases, supply depots, and even their homeworld." Captain Eric Dixon sat among the assembled officers. 6 months ago, he had watched his hometown of Denver burn under Chronari weapons. Now he would command the EDF Retribution, the most powerful ship in Earth's new fleet. "We have 3 primary objectives," Admiral Turner explained. "First, to ensure the Chronari can never threaten Earth again. Second, to free any other species they may have conquered. And third, to send a message to the galaxy: humanity will not be an easy target." After the meeting, Eric walked the corridors of the underground base, his mind focused on the mission ahead. A voice called his name, and he turned to see Dr. Diana Rivers hurrying toward him. "Captain Dixon," she said, "I've been assigned as your navigation specialist." Diana was the brilliant scientist who had cracked the Chronari navigational codes. She had discovered the spatial corridors the aliens used for faster-than-light travel. "Good," Eric replied. "We'll need your expertise." The Retribution leaves in 6 hours. I've found something interesting, Diana said, lowering her voice. The Chronari aren't acting alone. They're part of something larger, a galactic coalition of species that conquer together. Eric's eyes narrowed. How many species are in this coalition? At least 7, from what I can tell, Diana answered. And they've conquered dozens of worlds. Then we have more work to do than we thought, Eric said grimly. Gather everything you've learned, we'll discuss it on the ship. The Earth fleet departed in perfect formation, a stunning display of humanity's rapid technological advancement. The ships entered the spatial corridors that Diana had mapped, bypassing the Chronari defensive networks completely. On the bridge of the Retribution, Eric studied the tactical display. Our first target is the Chronari outpost in the Proxima system. Intelligence suggests it's lightly defended and contains valuable data about their empire. Lieutenant Paul Morgan, leader of the ship's infiltration team, stepped forward. My team is ready for deployment, Captain. We'll get in, extract the data, and plant the disruptors before they know what hit them. Paul's team consisted of 12 specially trained soldiers equipped with adaptive camouflage suits that could mimic Chronari appearance and technology. They had trained extensively using captured Chronari equipment. Begin the operation, Eric ordered. All ships maintain stealth protocols. The Retribution dropped out of the spatial corridor near the outpost, but remained hidden behind Proxima's 5th planet. Paul's team launched in a small modified Chronari shuttle, approaching the outpost as if they were a regular supply ship. They're hailing us, Paul reported from the shuttle, sending the authentication codes we captured. There was a tense moment of silence before the response came. Authentication accepted. Proceed to Docking Bay 3. The infiltration team landed without incident and moved through the outpost with practiced efficiency. The Chronari, confident in their security systems, had no idea humans had already learned to bypass them. Paul accessed the central computer core while his team planted disruptors throughout the facility. These devices would not only destroy the outpost but would send confusing signals to other Chronari bases, making them think the destruction was due to an internal malfunction. Data extraction complete, Paul reported to the Retribution. We've got everything, tactical information, fleet deployments, and something interesting, records of other species they've conquered. Good work, Eric replied. Set the disruptors and get out of there. The team returned to their shuttle and departed, again posing as a routine supply ship. Once they were clear, the disruptors activated. The outpost exploded from within, leaving no evidence of human involvement. As the Earth fleet pushed deeper into Chronari space, they discovered something troubling. The Chronari had conquered many worlds, enslaving their populations and stripping their resources. Eric and Diana examined the records Paul's team had recovered. These star charts show at least 15 inhabited worlds under Chronari control, Diana said. And the coalition they belong to has conquered even more, Eric added, his face grim. We're not just fighting for Earth anymore. The fleet's next target was a major Chronari shipyard orbiting a gas giant. This time there would be no stealth approach. Earth wanted the Chronari to know who was attacking them. All ships, battle formation, Eric ordered. Weapons free. Target their defensive systems first, then their production facilities. The Earth fleet dropped out of the spatial corridor directly in front of the shipyard. The Chronari defenses responded, immediately, but too slowly. Human ships, faster and more maneuverable, easily avoided their fire while launching precision strikes. On the Chronari command station, the supervisor watched in horror as the supposedly primitive humans systematically destroyed their most advanced military installation. Send the emergency signal to Cronash, the supervisor ordered. Tell them humans have weapons that can penetrate our strongest shields. But the communications officer shook his head. They've blocked all transmissions. We can't call for help. The Earth fleet completed its attack in less than an hour. The shipyard was left as a floating wreck, unusable but with minimal casualties among the Chronari workers. Eric had given strict orders to avoid unnecessary deaths. Message to all captured Chronari personnel, Eric broadcast. We are not here. to destroy your species. We are here to end your empire's conquest of other worlds. Tell your leaders, Earth is coming. On the Chronari homeworld of Kronash, Supreme Leader Zorix received increasingly desperate reports. The humans, who should have been defeated months ago, were now cutting through Chronari defenses like they were nothing. How is this possible? Zorix demanded of his advisors. They were a pre-spacefaring civilization less than a year ago. They adapt faster than any species we've encountered, one advisor said. They've not only mastered our technology but improved upon it, and they fight with unusual tactics. Another report arrived showing the destruction of another Chronari base. The pattern was always the same. The humans would appear without warning, strike with overwhelming force, and disappear before reinforcements could arrive. They're heading toward the Vega system, the military commander reported. That's where our main fleet is stationed. Zorix's metallic skin rippled with concern. Recall all available ships. We will make our stand at Vega Prime. As the Earth fleet approached Vega Prime, they detected the massive Chronari defense force waiting for them. Over 300 Chronari warships had gathered, forming a seemingly impenetrable barrier. On the Retribution, Eric called his officers together. This is it, the main Chronari fleet. If we can defeat them here, their ability to wage war will be broken. Communications Officer Maria Johnson had been monitoring Chronari transmissions. Sir, they're terrified of us. Listen to this. She played a translated message she had intercepted between Chronari commanders. These humans do not fight like any species we have encountered, the Chronari voice said. They adapt, they improvise, and they never, never surrender. We must destroy them completely or they will destroy us. Eric smiled grimly. They're finally learning who they're dealing with. All ships, prepare for battle. It's time to show the galaxy what happens when someone attacks Earth. The Earth fleet moved into formation. Though outnumbered 3-1, they had surprise, superior tactics, and most importantly, the determination born from defending their homeworld. For Earth, Eric said quietly, all ships, engage. The Battle of Vega Prime had begun. It would become legendary throughout the galaxy. The day when humanity announced its presence to the stars not with a whisper of peaceful exploration, but with the thunder of righteous vengeance. The Battle of Vega Prime would be remembered as the turning point in the war. Although outnumbered 3-1, the Earth fleet moved with a coordination that the Chronari had never encountered before. Captain Eric Dixon stood on the bridge of HFY, the EDF Retribution, his eyes fixed on the tactical display. Execute attack pattern Delta, he ordered calmly. Focus fire on their command ships. The Earth vessels broke into smaller groups, each targeting a specific section of the Chronari fleet. Instead of engaging in a traditional line battle, they darted between enemy formations, striking quickly and then moving on before the Chronari could respond effectively. Sir, the Chronari are trying to regroup, reported Maria Johnson from her communications station. They're confused by our tactics. Eric nodded. Good. Launch the drone swarms. From the holds of the Earth ships, thousands of small drones deployed. Each was barely larger than a human hand but carried advanced AI systems based on Dr. Garcia's designs. The swarms surrounded Chronari vessels, attaching to their hulls and disrupting their shield generators. On the Chronari flagship, Admiral Kraz watched in growing horror as his fleet's formation collapsed into chaos. How are they doing this, he demanded of his officers. Their ships are smaller than ours. Their weapons should be weaker. They're not fighting according to any known doctrine, his tactical officer responded, metallic skin rippling with stress. They're fighting like they have nothing to lose. A massive explosion lit up the view screen as one of the Chronari heavy cruisers was torn apart by concentrated fire from 3 Earth ships. Send the signal, Kraz ordered, his voice hollow with defeat. Tell Supreme Leader Zorix we cannot hold. The humans are too unpredictable. The battle lasted just 4 hours. When it ended, over 200 Chronari ships were destroyed or disabled. The Earth fleet had lost 17 vessels, a painful cost, but a price humanity was willing to pay. Eric looked at the aftermath displayed on his view screen. The remaining Chronari ships were retreating, their once perfect formations now scattered and broken. "Send the message," he ordered Maria, "to all Chronari forces and to their leadership. We are prepared to discuss terms of surrender." 2 weeks later, on a neutral space station at the edge of what had been Chronari territory, the peace delegation assembled. Admiral Frank Turner led the human representatives, including the now legendary Captain John Miller, who had survived Chronari captivity and a daring escape during the early days of the war. The Chronari delegation was led by Supreme Leader Zorix himself, his usual arrogance now tempered by the reality of defeat. Several other alien species were present as observers, representatives of the galactic coalition that had supported the Chronari in their conquests. Admiral Turner spoke first, his voice firm and measured. "We did not start this war. Earth sought peaceful contact with all species. But we have finished it. The terms we offer are non-negotiable." Zorix's metallic skin rippled with suppressed anger, but he remained silent as Turner continued. "First, the Chronari Empire will release all conquered worlds and restore their independence. Second, your military capabilities will be reduced and monitored to ensure you cannot threaten other species again. Third, you will deliver a message from humanity to all members of the Galactic Coalition." One of the coalition observers, a tall being with 4 arms and golden scales, leaned forward. "What message?" it asked. Admiral Turner gestured to Chief Diplomat Ryan Cooper, who stood and addressed the assembled aliens. "The message is simple," Ryan said. "Earth is now a player on the galactic stage. We come in peace to those who offer peace. We bring war to those who threaten us. We will protect those who cannot protect themselves. And we will never, ever surrender." The negotiations lasted 3 days, but the outcome was never in doubt. The Chronari, once the dominant military power in their sector of the galaxy, had no choice but to accept humanity's terms. 1 month later, representatives from 24 spacefaring civilizations gathered in the Grand Assembly Hall on Nexus Prime, the neutral meeting place of the Galactic Coalition. Many were former Chronari victims, now free thanks to Earth's intervention. Others were coalition members who had supported or ignored the Chronari conquests. Ryan Cooper stood before them, the official voice of humanity. Behind him stood Captain Miller, Admiral Turner, and other heroes of the war. "Let this serve as humanity's first and last warning to the galaxy," Ryan began, his words translated into hundreds of languages simultaneously. "We came into the stars seeking friendship and knowledge. Instead, we found conquest and cruelty." The assembly hall was completely silent as he continued. "We have demonstrated what happens when humanity is threatened. We are not conquerors. We do not seek your territories or resources. But know this: we are armed, we are ready, and we will never again be taken by surprise." Ryan's voice grew stronger, filling the vast chamber. "Any act of aggression against Earth or its allies will be met with overwhelming force. We offer our hand in peace to those who desire it. For those who prefer conflict, remember the Chronari and choose wisely." As he finished speaking, the holographic displays around the hall activated, showing footage from the Battle of Vega Prime. The assembled aliens watched in stunned silence as the smaller human fleet systematically dismantled the powerful Chronari armada. The message was clear: humanity was not to be underestimated. 5 years passed. Earth established diplomatic relations with dozens of species, many of whom had suffered under Chronari rule. Trade agreements were signed, cultural exchanges began, and humans started to spread throughout nearby star systems. The Galactic Coalition reformed, with exploitative practices banned and equal representation granted to all member worlds. Earth declined full membership, preferring to maintain its independence while participating as an observer. On the 5th anniversary of the invasion, a special memorial was unveiled in what had once been downtown Chicago. Admiral John Miller, promoted after his return from Chronari captivity, stood before the gathered crowds. "We lost much in those dark days," he said, looking out at the faces of those who had survived. "But we found something too: our place in the galaxy." Behind him, the monument was revealed, a simple globe of Earth, cracked but unbowed with a plaque reading, "They came to conquer. They left with a lesson. Humanity stands united, armed, and ready." Children from around the world released thousands of butterflies into the air, symbols of transformation and hope, as they fluttered upward. A formation of ships from Earth's defense fleet passed overhead, alongside diplomatic vessels from 6 alien worlds now allied with humanity. Far across the galaxy, on a distant world with 3 moons, a young alien child looked up at the night sky and asked its parent a question. "Teacher says there are humans out there. What are humans like?" The parent's eyes turned toward the stars. "Humans are different. They were living quietly on their world until the Chronari attacked them. Everyone thought they would be conquered easily. But they weren't." "No," the parent said. "Instead, they fought back harder than anyone expected. They freed many worlds, including our ancestors. Now they protect those who cannot protect themselves." "Are they dangerous?" the child asked. The parent considered this question carefully before answering. "To those who threaten them or the innocent, yes, very dangerous, but to friends, they are the best allies one could hope for." The child looked back at the stars with new interest. "I hope I meet a human someday." "Perhaps you will," the parent replied. "The galaxy is a safer place with them in it." On Earth, in the rebuilt headquarters of the Earth Defense Fleet, Admiral Turner studied the latest reports from their deep space monitoring stations. New civilizations were being discovered weekly now, as humanity's exploration ships ventured further into the galaxy. So far, there had been no more threats. The message had been received, loud and clear. Throughout the vastness of space, potential aggressors looked toward the small blue planet and reconsidered their plans. Humanity had found its place among the stars, not through conquest or submission, but through a demonstrated willingness to fight for their right to exist and to protect others who could not protect themselves. It was a new era for Earth and for the galaxy, and it had begun with humanity's warning. They were armed, they were ready, and they were here to stay.